To this now, the man accused of the brutal stabbing of a female student at one of the Cape Peninsula University of Technology student residences in Belhar, Cape Town, has made a brief appearance at the Bellville Magistrate's Court. He was arrested shortly after the incident. He is facing a charge of attempted murder. A video of the incident has been widely circulated on social media. All right, for more on this now, we are joined by Phinah Kodisang. She's the CEO of the Soul City Institute for Social Justice in South Africa. Ma'am, thank you so much for your time this afternoon. First, let's get your reaction to the incident that has been doing the rounds on social media. Phinah, can I ask you to...
Thank you. Yes, thank you. It's important to acknowledge the role that social media played in this incident. Had it not been that that video was out there circulating, we might have not known about this incident, right? So we need to, as much as there were bystanders who were helpless in doing anything to prevent that incident, I think we need to appreciate that we now have something that can be used to prosecute the perpetrator, because there is evidence that cannot be disputed. And we know in our code of law that's what is needed. You need to prove beyond reasonable doubt that the incident has happened. So that's my first reaction to it. But secondly, I think we still have a problem in South Africa where we are very reactionary. An incident must happen first for us to actually do something. Prevention is something we fail dismally at as a whole country. And I think institutions of higher learning, them being in the top, hotspots that we see every time the report is given by the minister, they are always amongst the top hotspots in terms of where incidences happen. They need to have been proactive in trying to put measures in place to do better in reacting to such an incident, but also in trying to make sure that the response that is there is quicker and it's able to prevent a death from happening. While in this incident, death has not happened, it could end up in death because the victim is critical at the moment.
Let's look at the scale and the violence, that we saw in that particular video. I mean, a lot of people, again, echoing your words, saying, if it wasn't for this video, we would not have known the scale in which this crime was committed. But it was broad daylight. And it seems that these perpetrators are getting more and more brazen, and that gender-based violence is, for them, just an act. I mean, just talk to us about how the scale of this crime really translates to.
It translates to what the system has actually afforded perpetrators. There's, if you look at statistics, we know that the prosecution rate is sitting at less than 8%. So already there's, in the system, there's a failure to actually deal with perpetrators in a way that other perpetrators know that this is what will befall them should they act in any way, right? And so if there's a system that is enabling for perpetrators to act with impunity, without thinking about the consequences, because they know that much might not happen to them, we have created an enabling environment, or rather the justice system, the criminal justice system has created an enabling environment for someone to act in that way in broad daylight with an audience. That tells you that they are not scared of what will happen, because they probably know that it will go to court, it will be dragged out, they'll be granted bail. If they have a good lawyer, they might argue on technicality and get away with it. And that's what it has become about. It has become about how good is your lawyer in getting you off, instead of how good is the system in dealing decisively with perpetrators of gender-based violence in our country.
And that is an important question, how good is our system, or how good our system should be. We are approaching another campaign, of course, and that is 16 days of activism with no violence against women and children. Just looking at the fact that the murder and the rape of women and children remains stubbornly high, and the statistics that you've just gave us now about, the prosecution rate. What is your view of anti-sexual and gender violence awareness campaigns like the 16 Days of Activism campaign, and also the role that young men play?
Campaigns remain campaigns unless there's intention and there's accountability, and we have the buy-in of everyone to make sure that we don't just end up with having a campaign, but in reality, we are translating the law into action. We are actually also investing in ensuring that the police are doing their job. We don't have backlogs of DNA testing. We don't have cases that drag on for years. So it remains a campaign unless there's an intention, the political will to turn the scourge around. We've just come out of COVID, right? Lockdowns and all those things almost a year ago. And we saw how intentional everyone was in making sure that we bring the education that is needed. We were bombarded with messages every day. We were educated every day about how to prevent the social distances, the physical social distances that was enforced. So there was intention there, action was taken. And it's like with gender-based violence, we just say a lot of words. We just speak and speak and speak, but we are not taking action that actually shows the intention or that aligns to what we say the intention is. So we need to invest in the fight. It's a fight that requires a lot of resources because you must have capable police. You must also have, awareness created in communities, because behavior change is something that requires a lot of money. And if we are going to run away from the fact that it's an investment that must be made, we will again next year talk about this campaign in the 16 days. And rest assured, we are going to see many other cases in the next few days, from the 25th when we start the campaign until the 10th of December when it ends. It will be one case after another, because that's what it has become. It has become 16 days where we report how many have died, 16 days where we report how the system has failed, 16 days where we report, the failed attempts of the system to actually turn the scourge around. So we must not fall into the trap of just talking about it as a campaign, but we must act. It must be actionable, and everybody's hands must be on deck. It can't be left to the police. It can't be left to government. What is my role as a citizen? What is my role in my family as a leader? How am I educating my children about their role, boys, girls alike?
Well, what it certainly tells us is there is a huge gap, and we obviously have a lot of work that needs to be done. But Phinah, thank you so much for your time this afternoon. Really do appreciate you coming through. That's Phinah Kodisang. She's the CEO of the Soul City Institute for Social Justice in South Africa.